Let's talk about Mahomes getting dusted by Kelce on a route as 12-year-old Micah hits Travis for an easy TD, Madden throwing shade at Willie Jr., and the Chiefs receiving corps, training camp just around the corner, some not so good Justyn Ross news, and much freaking more. But first, how about those? What's up, guys? My name is Cole, aka Mitch's red-bearded lil bro, or sometimes known as Redwiser, the king of beards, and I do daily news about the Kansas City Chiefs, so make sure to sub to make your day, every day. Like this video if you are excited that 50 Cent dropped in today to let us know that it's only 50 days until kickoff. And let's get into this video, starting with a pretty awesome story via a 6-minute video that came out yesterday about a 12-year-old girl named Micah who was born with a congenital heart defect that required 2 open heart surgeries when she was still an infant. I believe she's had even more and may require more in the future. So while enduring grueling hospital stays for treatment, one thing Micah has found refuge in is her favorite football team, the Kansas City Chiefs, and her favorite player, of course, Patrick Mahomes. She's always wanted to meet him, and even one day wants to play in the NFL herself, with aspirations to become the first female QB. Well, her wish was made to become reality, and Micah and her family were brought out from California, where they live, to Kansas City to see the stadium, check out the locker room, get her own custom jersey, and then hang out with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, throw them some passes, and even study film with Mahomes himself. It's a very heartwarming video. I may or may not have choked up slightly a couple of times because I have daughters. So if you haven't seen it yet, link is in the description. It's awesome.
Ready? And he's gonna get my chest? Mommy!
And since we're on the subject of Mahomes and how awesome he is, I was made aware of this historical fact of the day via the historian Shaggy Shane, and it is this. On this day, exactly 5 years ago, July 20th, 2017, Patrick Mahomes officially signed his rookie deal. It was set to pay out $16.4 million, fully guaranteed, along with a $10.1 million signing bonus. And I'm not sure exactly what was expected out of Mahomes when he was drafted and signed his deal and ultimately sat for the year under Alex Smith, but I can assure you of this. It's worked out pretty freaking well and probably, hopefully, exceeded some expectations. 4 AFC Championship games, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 ring, 1 Super Bowl MVP, a league MVP, and he's only just getting started. Absolutely freaking incredible. And then a few years later, on July 6, 2020, that's the date when Mahomes and the Chiefs inked a 10-year extension worth about $500 million. You know, pocket change. Well deserved, you rich, dynasty-changing 26-year-old man.
I'm a beast out here! I'm a beast! Hit me! Hit me!
Okay, so the new Madden game drops in about a month, and they have slowly been releasing rankings by position group to kind of get people excited for the release. And it's been interesting, at least for me, to see so far how some of the position groups for the Chiefs are looking as far as these little ratings go. And one thing I noticed immediately was that our wide receiver core is not looking like the greatest thing in the world at the moment. In fact, it's looking quite average. Our highest rated receiver is Juju at 80, then McColl at 79, MVS at 76, Josh Gordon at 74, and Sky Moore at 72. And I sure do hope Madden is a bit wrong here about these ratings, because they're basically saying none of these guys will amount to too terribly much, especially when you look at Tyreek, who left. That is all the way up in the sky with a 97 overall. But one thing these little ratings do not account for is Mahomes' ability to take the floor of the receiving core and raise it up about 10 total points, because he's that freaking good. One thing I know, though, that they are not wrong about is the rating of Travis Kelce, because a video game is officially more accurate at ranking their tight ends than the paid professionals of ESPN. And I'm going to say that one more time so your ears can really take this in. A video game is more accurate at ranking tight ends than the overpaid professionals at ESPN. Remember their recent rankings in which NFL scouts, execs, coaches, and players voted on the top tight end in the league, and George Kittle edged out Travis Kelce for the #1 spot? Well, not on Madden, because Travis Kelce holds a 98 rating, just over Kittle's 97 overall. So, well done to the video game experts for clearly getting this one right. So, while some people are overjoyed and Madden seems to be nailing some of their ratings, they seem to fail in other regards because you have linebacker Willie Gay Jr., who jokingly, asked to be removed from the game when he saw his rating was a 69 overall, the same rating as Mike Dana and rookie Leo Chanel. Yikes, he did not seem too terribly happy about that one and even called them out for listing some of these positions wrong and said they need to do better. And he may be slightly upset that Nick Bolton is listed 10 points higher at a 79 overall, but he'll never outwardly admit that one. You know what I personally am not afraid to admit that I am not happy about? It's our defensive line, specifically the Chiefs' edge rushers, in which Frank Clark is the highest ranked player at the position with a measly little 78 overall, followed by Carl Loftus at 74, Mike Dana at 69, and both Austin Edwards and Joshua Kando at a whole 62. Madden basically never rates rookies above an 80, so I hope Carl Loftus and even Sky Moore severely outperforms their number, specifically Carl Loftus outperforming his 74 rating, because we really need him to outperform at all costs, especially if the Chiefs do not bring in any additional help. And then I wanted to quickly plug the fact that former Chiefs head coach Dick Vermeil received his gold jacket in the mail yesterday. It was just casually dropped off by FedEx like it was no big deal, but trust me, it's a huge deal as it's one of the most iconic symbols of those that are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And if any of you are interested, you can watch Vermeil's enshrinement on Saturday, August 6th on ESPN or NFL Network at 10 a.m. Hashtag not sponsored.
Holy macro, other than needing pressing, it is beautiful.
Okay, yesterday was moving day at the Chiefs facility, and Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest took some video footage showing helmets, pads, miscellaneous gear, and even some blocking sleds getting loaded up and prepared to get taken out to St. Joe for training camp, which starts for the rookies, QBs, and select injured players in just 2 days on Friday, July 22nd, followed by the veterans on Tuesday, July 26th. And it's interesting to me that they say, quote, and select injured players. I just picture them going around and looking at all the guys who have injuries like, yep, you can go, but not you. I guess you make the cut. I know that's not how it works, but that's how my brain works. So welcome to it. And on the subject of equipment and all things potentially needed for something as big as training camp, it's worth highlighting the Chiefs equipment director, Alan Wright, who has zero relation to Nick Wright, but get this, he's been working for the Chiefs for 4 decades. That's right, he started working for the organization back in 1983, and he is still working there and responsible for anything and everything that anyone in the organization may need. For example, toiletries, helmets, shoulder pads, shoes, blocking sleds, steroids, Andy Reid's mustache comb, 15 slabs of ribs for Darian Kennard, ice packs for Sky Moore's little hamstrings, whatever it is, you name it, Alan Wright will freaking provide it. Except for the steroids. That part was obviously a joke. Please don't hate me. But yeah, over the course of 40 years, Alan Wright has worked his way up, now employing 6 staff members, and has proudly represented the kingdom well. So hats off to you, good sir, and to everyone watching. You know what all this training camp news really means? It means that football season is very freaking close, so let's freaking go.
Let's go! You gotta feel this, baby!
All right, y'all, we need to talk about Chiefs UDFA, UDFA wide receiver Justyn Ross for a moment here, because he actually posted on social media for one, and also because I learned some news about him that I figured happened, but now I have confirmation that you definitely will want to be in the know about. So let's start a bit light at first, because it gets heavy, starting with what he shared on his IG stories yesterday, which included this training video you're seeing of him working on routes, quick stops, sharp turns, catching passes like it's his job, because it is, you know, all that fun stuff. And I don't want you to be confused about what you're watching with your eyes right now, because this training footage is from March, like March 30th or something. So nothing recent. Okay. Ross also shared a photo saying, "Thank God for another day," that shows him laying in bed saying, "What's up?" And then another clip of him driving down a dark street. So I share all that to say this man is alive and well and did not go into witness protection like I wondered he may have done after all, because if you remember, right at the end of OTAs and most notably right before mandatory minicamp, this man vanished out of thin air, and nobody made any mention of him, including the coaches, players, not even Andy Reid during his minicamp interview with the media. And on top of that, no reporter was even curious enough to ask about the guy, unless prior to them turning the cameras on, they said, "Don't ask about Justyn Ross." and they obeyed like good little people. So I don't know about that, but coffee's kicking in, so it is what it is. But let's fast forward to last night when someone tagged me in this photo, which is from an Instagram post that is dated July 9th, 2022. And for further proof that this is real and not some old photo from when Justyn had surgery on his foot last year, the shirts they are wearing in this photo say Tommy Keyman Robinson's youth football camp, which was hosted at Central High School in Phoenix City, Alabama on July 9th, 2022. You can see the literal invite. It's on the screen, all the details, so this is real. And Justyn Ross was there because he attended Central High School in Phoenix City, Alabama. So now that we've established that this is real, the caption from Zach Eisen, who is the man who shared this photo on Twitter, linking to the Instagram post, reads as follows. Chiefs wide receiver Justyn Ross was spotted 2 weeks ago in a boot and using a walking stroller for an injury on his left foot, the same foot he had surgery on for a stress fracture back in November 2021. So yeah, I hate to be the potential of bad news here, especially for some of y'all that predicted this man to be wide receiver 1 and have 1,200 yards this season. But it's looking like he's injured once again, and it's serious enough that he has to use a boot and walk around using a walking stroller. Now, I am no doctor, even though I did get an email yesterday that started out saying, "Dear Dr. Redbeard," but this injury seems at least somewhat serious. So what happened? I have no freaking idea. But it's safe to assume that he re-injured his foot in some capacity, either at a Chiefs practice or at the very least during training of some sort. And it had to have happened right before Chiefs mandatory minicamp because Pete Sweeney from Arrowhead Pride noted that Justyn Ross was absent from OTAs on June 9th, and mandatory minicamp was June 14th through the 16th. So he was definitely injured prior to June 9th and was still seen a month later in that boot and using a walking stroller on July 9th. So whatever it is, it's not good, even though honestly he could be out of the boot by now, yet I'm still somewhat confident that because of this man won't be ready for football for a while. So what happens to Justyn Ross? Well, the Chiefs could stash him away for the season on IR or possibly place him on the reserve PUP list where he could spend the first 6 weeks of the season on that list before being allowed to return if cleared. There's also the possibility that the Chiefs do something else that I'm not smart enough to predict, which is also highly likely. So take those first couple of options with a grain of salt because I'm not really sure what they are going to do with him at this point. But it's safe to say the Justyn Ross hype was sadly indeed just hype, at least for this season or a good chunk of it. Remember though, just because a player is injured their rookie year doesn't mean that they cannot come back strong. 2 examples of this, specifically with the Chiefs, are Travis Kelce, who missed his entire rookie season due to a knee injury, and also Byron Pringle, who was placed on IR for the season after a hamstring injury he suffered during the last preseason game of the 2018 season against the Green Bay Slackers. In both of these examples, these guys bounced back and have been able to play at a competitive level in the NFL, Kelce specifically at an elite level. But what worries me about Justyn Ross is he sadly just can't seem to stay healthy. It's rather unfortunate, and honestly, it freaking sucks. So I personally think, yes, the Chiefs will hold on to this man because he does potentially have a very high ceiling if he can stay healthy. So I know that the Chiefs, when they picked him up, knew he was a risk, but a very potentially high reward, low risk. So that's what I think. But I want to pass this question to you guys. What are your thoughts on this regarding Justyn Ross? Did you think it was too good to be true in the first place? Do you think a year on IR will really help him, especially with the medical team as great as the Chiefs on his side, monitoring him, making sure he's good to go? Let me know about it in the comments down below, and let's bicker about it down there, similar to how Lamar Jackson and Bernard Pollard like to do on Twitter. And from here, I want to give a few super thanks shout outs. Russ Weston sent over a 5 saying thanks. Byron Nesbitt and BW Wrangler or B Wrangler, one of those, hit with a quick 2 each. Brian saying thanks, you rock, and Wrangler saying a little something for the bro with the Rojo face, Fro. I like the rhymes on that one, so thank you. I appreciate all the support. And Russ, you're welcome. Brian, you rock. And Wrangler, I appreciate you. Make sure to leave a bearded comment to potentially be featured in an upcoming vid. Like and sub for more, or if you haven't already, and check out this video here, which is from Arrowhead Addict's podcast, in which they survey the Chiefs' edge options. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?